Her lips which whisper, like reeds on the wind, wet with moisture sprung from a well deep within, whispers, like the petals of an iris, the reedy blossom which weathers and is not trodden down for long. Line 1419. Like fish in a barrel, what robbers gild to harrow, their day in the sun fell they, one by one. For upon their return was met each one in turn by fate. In their lair their end had begun. Down they a score, perhaps how many more, engendering fright as they prayed in the night, to return with no warning as the night turned to morning. In crime darkness their friend thus would bend to the light. To their den they would retire, future plots they would conspire. The night's hall theirs to be admired, and future wealth to be desired. Their deeds of naught by night near done, one by one they did come. It tethered by a string the cowbell did sing a warning as required. But a death knell was the spell, for as it rang out they all fell. Before the sun they one by one did perish. Garish fell the final one as toward the cavern he did run. His booty thus relented, things that someone else did cherish. Of the things to be explored there was as yet one final door. To the west was this hidden quest, they found it locked in triplicate. For thus begat the robbers' guild of fate of fortune unfulfilled. Behind they left that final door, what loot implored for they to split. With happenstance there happens chance, heirs to but a second glance. When touched this portal disappeared, and an illusion with which they were endeared. A phantasm want for to dispel, of locks to pick, no shade to tell. He fumbled, feeling with his fingers for the tumblers to appear. A pointed probe he could not see, of poison on its tip to be. With poignant pride he moved aside before the pension's probe's decree. His brow now soaked with workman's dew, of locks to pick he had but two. Though where they be he could not see, he grimaced, groping carefully. Behind the probe set number 2, and hidden yet it was from view. It opened to a hidden room with hidden levers, I would presume. He felt behind the hidden door for hidden walls, a roof and floor. Were wayward hands to take a chance and fumble, he would meet his doom. What fumbled tumblers tumbled true. The door and locks came into view. Illusion gone, the sweet spot found, ere ever was a welcome sound. It opened to a rough-hewn vault, a finder's fee the finder's fault. Timid dawn the portal yawned, haps grateful for to be unbound. Beyond what vulgar statuary, its poses odd, indeed were scary, an imprecation to impose, and press for want of wealth to glean. Hewn from some archaic stone, though not quite white, the hue of bone, a quiescent lot to pedagogue of pettish art for to demean. A chiseled likeness far from grace, a look of horror on the face. Unbalanced be the pose to see what fall indeed for to impede. My weary upon the pedestal wrought, grotesque visage indeed was caught. Contrary be the stone decree, what loss forever to concede. A dozen maybe, perhaps a score, strayed about the rough-hewn floor. Upon pedestals vest indeed they rest, in line before 3 gilded chests. What gift to glean of lot and clean, which made them thus as they were seen? A treasure trove, this marble grove, concealed within the robber's nest. Approached the chest as Merelda did, to probe with mind the gilded lid. Triggered thus the trap was sprung, and backwards was the princess flung. Backwards having fallen flat, upright again, indeed she sat, to reclaim her sight from flash of light, from which the chest like crystal sung. The lid lay open for to see, before the chest a pedestal be. What wonders be within to see, within 3 gilded chests What wonders be within to see, within these gilded chests of 3? What magics be, a scroll or sword, within the dead Grandmaster's hoard? What tricks and trinkets, gold and jewel, were garnered there with jeopardy? Up the ladder, rungs to grasp, indeed remain the final task. A trapdoor be above to see, beyond what lurks up there to be. Up the ladder first went Dread, with sword in hand, still dripping red. Behind he Catania was to follow, in carnage wallowed, thus has she. A dilemma thus, which string to tug atop the ladder, they were snug. They beneath the trapdoor were arrayed, stained from use, and indeed were frayed. When tugged the first string made a clang beneath them as the cowbell sang. They pulled and tugged string number 2 of braided suede when it was played. The cowbell rang again once more, tumbling as it hit the floor. Above the light indeed was bright, as shone it above the old trapdoor. The brightness then was thus eclipsed, a shining head indeed had dipped, an inch or more below the trapdoor. The cowbell bounced across the floor. A blacksmith black, taken aback, now peered straight down the trapdoor shaft, of Catania in dread with daggers drawn, blood still wet upon the hafts. His demeanor calm, he backed away, dodging the impending fray. His manner bequeathed their daggers to sheathe, thus conflict to be set abaft. Kids, you know I have it be, and way back they confronted me, to mind the door above their den, my business which they would defend. The smiths spoke with averted eyes, Catania and dread were thus surprised. We'll pay you well to do the same for us we're taking over, friend. They below I will not miss, of pay a mark they ever missed, of hot stale breath upon my neck, for not to be I would neglect, to see what aught and wrought below, mine eyes and ears thus would not know, with gold encumbered what's to say of tales to tell I'd not collect. Embitter not, I am now free, what robbers' guild is near to be, for never was it set below the depths down there I've yet to know. We'll pay you, sir, and bring you work, for which payment, no, we will not shirk. A retainer's fee plus some to see or not of tales one would forego. Agreed indeed, I am but pleased to be compensated suitably, what gold to take and ever more to see. My service hired for when required, of other aught I'll not inquire, of they below I've yearned ere yet to be free. The great brawl before the fire, see, in 326 AF it be, with AF meaning after the fall, when the Gorhold seized and ravaged all. The Grimdella Empire yonder south, of word which came by word of mouth, beset by foes on all three sides, were met by woes best left unscribed. The host far to the north withdrew, of the stalwart cliffs of Triangle knew, the bottleneck where the forest grew, an emerald fortress fastness true. But back to 326 for us it be, and the scourge of North Ashton for to see. For slander not you of this great commode, yonder filth and fastness called the pink toad. What wreathing wanton pickled paltry lot, from whom life and love the law and time forgot. Much love for whom the burning embers glowed, those fettered fast in place at the pink toad. 5 gores came through the door one starry night, their red-rimmed eyes bent wholly on a fight. Barrels and kegs they drank begat no cheer. Their thirst for beer they drank, no end in sight. No words to them were spoke to chance a slight. They sucked and guzzled ale with all their might. The barkeep gazed in horror and in fright, as drank they did but all the stock that night. As patrons fled into the morning drear, their thirst to chase by awful nagging fear. Within yet were Catania and Feline, with Gangor dread and Derrick still drinking. No more, he cried the gore whose breath did stink. The bar he pounded, wanting more to drink. Amiss he flew into a sovereign rage, for lack of beverage even yet to age. The sconce and lantern flared against the night. One fell upon the floor to burn so bright. Rage expressed with vehemence and spittle. Chairs were dashed to splinters, ever little. Aflame his eyes reflecting red firelight, which danced before his face infernal bright. Dry wood like kindling burned with fearsome zest on hovels near where sleeping souls did rest. The night withdrew to fire air so bright, which kindled shack and hovel all in sight. The wind like bellows fanned the searing flame, and shouts to run there were, in fear exclaimed. What conflagration born in angst did brew, what battle at the center did ensue, the stubborn drunken foes not yet withdrew, to fall now as the conflagration grew. Tipsy yet, their reflexes were no match. Slow the foes were easily dispatched. Smattered blood was splattered to boil away, fallen, abandoned drunks for flames to catch. Thus begat the fire of 326, the brawl before the fire for to fix, the north side but to be in heaps of ash, and squalor not deplorables to dash. And the blue ghost saunterly appeared, midst hovels which were formerly endeared. Here red and dead she strolled amidst the fire. What fear endeared could ever match her ire? Auburn hair and skin ere hued of blue, heartless lent her heart ere ever true. What heart to take but never ever kept, but given once forever could be lent. She stood and gazed intently at the pyre, fraught with circumstances ere so dire. The raven cawed and rose into the night, a plight to be bemused with dragon's spite. Of Ishmael and her brother to be feared, the cause receding in the morning drear, as shadows by the rising sun were made, into the darkness the blue ghost did fade. 12/24/21, Lexington, Kentucky. That's when I finished this. Thanks for listening.